Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to the K&M 495 Sportscast. My name is Kyle. I'm here with Michael Reed. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. I'm excited to get this going. How have you been?
I've been fantastic. So I heard it was your birthday yesterday, dude.
It was my birthday. You wouldn't know it from what I did this weekend because nobody showed up anywhere. And
What?
well, it's just you getting older. Nobody wants to celebrate birthdays anymore. It's just a story of my life.
Dude, we bring some drinks around, man. I'm always down to drink. I don't know about your friends, dude.
There we go. Well, next week we'll polish off a 30-pack during this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, dude, I can't wait. Yeah, we messed up today by not bringing anything.
The drunkies part 2.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, so us being Redskins fans, the first thing that we got to get into is the Scott McCloughan situation.
Oh, my God.
We got to talk about everything that you know, everything that I know, and obviously everything that everyone else knows. And it's the lack of respect for professionalism, I would say.
The Redskins franchise is a joke. After that, the way that they handled Scott McCloughan was just so unprofessional. So you don't do that to an employee, especially somebody who's actually done some pretty good things for you over the last 2 years that they've been there. I mean, that was just incredible. I know you've been looking up some of the timelines of some pretty interesting stuff that happened, and I'm pretty sure that you cracked the code.
Yeah, dude, it's not looking good at all for the Redskins. I mean, if you look at this and you go, like, by law, like, how are you supposed to treat employees? I'm pretty sure this is not the way you're supposed to do it.
No.
But so we know from the obituary that McCloughan's grandmother passes away on the 3rd. And so you would think that McCloughan immediately flies away to be with his family. Well, it happens to be that on the 5th is when it gets reported that Bruce Allen is somewhat jealous that Scott McCloughan has gotten so much credit from the fans. So you'd have to think that as soon as Scott left the building, because Scott wouldn't leave the building during the whole offseason.
No, he's paid to be here.
He's
during
scouting.
This time, not during the combine and the pre-draft workouts.
Exactly. And so you would figure that he flies away, right? Well, from the obituary, you also find out that the funeral was on the 12th. Well, at that time is when, on the 15th, is when Cooley comes out and speculates that Scott McCloughan is drinking.
Which was just a rude move by Chris Cooley anyway. That's just that's just very much, you don't put that on somebody. I wouldn't. Hopefully Scott can end up suing these Redskins officials and people of that sort just for stuff that they said about him, because it's not cool. It's not nice.
And the funny thing about it is, like, everyone knows that 980 is owned by the Redskins. But something that people don't know is that 980, the actual radio station, is located in Redskins Park. As soon as you walk into Redskins Park, you look to your left when you go into the doors, and there you see the room where you see a big poster that says 980, and you see the microphones, you see all of it set up. So you'd have to imagine that he didn't have some sort of information.
Yeah, you really don't think Bruce Allen was in Chris Cooley's ear saying, hey, well, why don't you break up Scott drinking again? Why don't you do that?
Yeah, exactly. Cooley, I love Cooley. Cooley's smart as heck. I love listening to him break down football with X's and O's. He knows everything. I love him. He's a great personality. But Chris is not just going to come out and say something like that without some motivation behind him. Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense.
No.
So we know the funeral's on the 12th. Cooley comes on the 15th and says that. So you'd have to think that Scott was returning home around that time. So then on the 20th is when it's speculated after the fact that Scott was sent home from Redskins Park and told not to return. And so when you look at that, what do you think? You immediately think of a confrontation. Something was said. There was words where Scott was saying, none of you guys, none of you Redskins officials, nobody came out and said, this isn't true, Scott messed up, it was a mistake, he'll pay for it. And that never came out.
That's as much. Scott McCloughan's drinking in his battle with alcoholism, that's been pretty well publicized, I mean, since before he even started with the Redskins. I mean, that was known. So you would think that if this is such a big issue, if the Redskins didn't have anything to do with this, they would come out and they'd defend their guy. They would do something. They would say, look, we're handling this. We hope Scott the best. We're gonna get him the help that he needs. But they didn't say anything. They didn't even say Chris Cooley was wrong. They didn't say. I mean, they just let it go. They didn't say anything, and that's where that gets kind of sketchy. That's where it's almost like they planted the bomb in Chris Cooley's head to say this.
Exactly. And so the combine is on March 1st. And so that's when, as soon as the combine starts, Brian McNally goes and starts looking for Scott, because he knows where these guys are. They always stay in the same hotels. They always stay on the same floor. He knows where to go. He's going asking, hey, where's Scott? Where's Scott? None of these guys know. None of them know. Scott's not there yet. Scott's not there. So Brian starts making calls, gets a text from Scott that he's not there. And so Brian's like freaking out. He's like, what's going on? So he's like, well, when are you going to return? He said, I can't answer that right now.
Yeah, why was the head of the Redskins scouting department, their general manager, who specializes in the NFL draft, that's what he's known for, why was he not there? Why? And he would not miss that for any reason. I understand grandparent dies, that's sad, that is. But grandparents die, they do. As mean as that is to say that happens. I mean, it was a month prior. I understand being there a week after for a funeral, but you're not going to wait a month to bury somebody to have a funeral. I mean, it wasn't his mom or dad, it was his grandparents.
And it makes it everything worse is that Bruce, the whole time at the combine, is like, he's going to be back next week. He's going to be back next week when we get back. He'll be back. He'll be back.
He's trying to put people's minds at ease, but what he ended up doing is making more questions about why he is such a sketchy person and a politician in the NFL.
Yeah. And it's amazing because Gruden's contract was literally 2 days into the combine, late at night, and people were questioning it, saying, were they possibly drinking when they're talking and going over the contract? Basically saying is, we need an out right now. We don't look good right now. We're at the combine, and everything is focused on us in our front office instead of the actual rookies.
What can we do to take the news away from the way we handled our general manager? I know what we can do. Let's sign our head coach, who's good friends with the general manager, to an extension. That way, people think that we're doing what's right for the team.
Exactly. It's just kind of like, there's nothing to see here. We're fine. We're good to go. But nobody believed it. And so then what happens, of course, is next week comes, Scott's not back at Redskins Park. But you know where you do see Scott? Walking his dog
in Redskins
gear, dude.
In Redskins gear.
Basically saying, yeah, screw you guys.
I remember being such an optimist and being so hopeful when I saw that picture.
Dude,
and being
so
like,
was I.
Maybe
I was so
fine.
happy. I was like, please.
Okay, yeah, he's fine. He just, he's done his homework. He didn't need to be at the combine. Maybe he was Skyping the entire time with somebody. He really was having an issue.
that could have entirely been possible.
When his 55-year-old man's grandmother dies, not his mom, not his dad, but his grandmother, and he takes a month off of work to the place where he makes his money. He makes his money at the combine. There was no reason that he shouldn't have been there. And the Redskins, I can't cuss on this show, but the Redskins, they messed it up.
They really did. And so the whole reason why we're talking about this is because I honestly think that the worst part about this is if you look at it in hindsight and you look at the whole thing altogether, you see that the Redskins, from start to finish, had a smear campaign on Scott McCloughan when he was at a funeral for his grandmother. How cold-hearted is that?
They're cold-hearted people, man.
Jeez, man. The guy, as soon as the guy leaves, as soon as he leaves the building, all of a sudden the seed is planted, and a month later, Scott's out the building.
Bruce Allen starts talking as soon as Scott McCloughan left, and apparently from a couple reports on Bleacher Report that I had read. I know Bleacher Report's not exactly the most credible all the time, but
they hate the Redskins.
Most people. Even some of our fans hate the Redskins.
We should call them Washington because you can't say
Washington. You can't say Redskins. You can't say that. It's 2017.
2017.
But even one of their writers, I think it was Matt Miller, came out and said that apparently Bruce Allen was pretty offended because over the last season, Scott McCloughan was telling people in scouting circles, hey man, if it was up to me, if I was really in full control, I would have signed Kirk Cousins last offseason, right after 2015. I would have signed him right then and there. And I don't think Bruce Allen liked that. I don't think that he likes when people steps on his toes because he's such an egomaniacal maniac.
Well, let me switch it up on you. So we know it's guaranteed. We all know that literally Bruce Allen is Dan Snyder.
Yeah,
it's just the Bruce Allen is just the PR department.
He's a better looking, better politician, Dan Snyder.
That's all it is. And so it's literally Dan feeding Bruce and Bruce saying it. And so I'm sure Dan is still calling the shots. All of it. He can try to stay back behind the shadows all he wants, but we all know that this is his baby. He cares about it for some reason and loves making it hell for the fans. Doesn't make any sense, but that's just the way it is. And you can tell that it was Dan that was mad about it.
Oh yeah.
Dan was mad about being wrong about RG3. Dan called Jay's agent at the end of the 2015 season and was calling him saying that Jay was robbing them because he wasn't grooming RG3 like he said he was going to.
And you know what? That makes me mad because you know who was really robbing the Redskins? The Rams were robbing the Redskins of all of our draft picks. Thanks a lot, Robert.
Imagine that. Imagine the Redskins having Aaron Donald.
I know. Do you know how awesome? We can get into all that, but it's so unfair. If you look back at, what was it, 2012, they ended up taking Michael Brockers. Even he would help.
Yeah.
Then the next year they got Aaron Donald with our pick.
Yeah.
Yeah. That right. I mean,
a superstar defensive tackle.
Our worst position is the defensive line. Those are two pretty good defensive linemen.
Now, people will say that could have been helped by getting Leonard Williams instead of getting Brandon Sheriff. But I absolutely love Brandon Sheriff.
I love Sheriff.
I got his jersey up in my closet right now.
I was about to wear my Trent Williams jersey over here, too.
Dude,
Trent Williams is my favorite
we'll have the
player
lineman sportscast.
We will have to.
I'm about it.
Real quick, I just read earlier today that Brandon Sheriff and Trent Williams combined, they only allowed 3 quarterback pressures all year.
Yeah.
Combined between both of them. It's pretty impressive.
That's what blows my mind about them, is that they have like an actual, like you could say as in total, they are a top 10 offensive line.
I think at top 10, I think that they're more top 5.
But the worst part about it is I would say as passing, like pass blocking, they are top 5.
No,
they
100%.
are possibly
Definitely.
the best. But run blocking, it's so bad.
A lot of that will come from Sheriff. I mean, there was highlights this year of Sheriff just manhandling people. Brandon Williams of the Ravens just tossing them.
Oh yeah, I
remember
saying that. Yeah,
but left guard has been Sean Lavelle. Is not. I mean, that's definitely a weak link. I wouldn't be mad if the Redskins in the draft ended up in the second, third round. Somebody taking an offensive lineman, a left guard.
Well, that's the bad thing is we drafted Ari Kwanjo in this regime.
Yeah,
and we have Bill Callahan, who we've said is like the guru, right? The guru.
Callahan is the most important coach on our staff.
He is, and I honestly have been thinking that maybe we need to start criticizing Callahan because he hasn't gotten Ari Kwanjo up to starting job.
Hey, that's fair. I didn't think of that. Like I've always been treating Callahan like he's a god.
Exactly. I mean, it's easy to do that when you have a top 5 pick at a position, and also with 2 of them, with being Trent Williams as well.
Yeah.
But in Morgan Moses, so the guy that we just picked up, this guy Kling.
Yeah, he's a big
6'8",
boy, right?
320. I mean, I'm sure, obviously he's garbage. We know he's garbage.
Not,
but still, 6'8", 320 is your tackle?
If anybody can coach him up, it would be Callahan. Callahan has done some amazing things with that offensive line. Remember before Callahan got here, how big of a joke our offensive line was? Yeah. We had Trent Williams. The other 4 starters were all garbage. We were stuck with Corey Lichtensteiger for seasons at 283 pounds playing center against nose tackles. He would start to play 5 yards in the backfield.
But the thing is with Corey is I have to respect Corey because I understand where he's coming from because like his size and everything, he still did well. It was because he was smart. He had the leadership. He was able to call out plays to the other guys.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And you're starting to see now that's really important.
Yeah.
And so you need to have that.
That's where I think it's gonna over the next couple seasons. I'm a big Spencer Long guy too. I like the way he plays, and once he gets a little bit more, and once he gets a little bit more, once he gets a little bit more experience, he can hopefully be able to do that. He seems like a smart guy. He's got a good head on his shoulders, so we'll see. That's another thing.
Yeah.
The McLuhan effect. Scott loves his big offensive linemen, his big boys up front. Now our offensive line is huge up front.
Yeah.
You think we're going to end up keeping that with most of the draft? Do you think that we're going to keep Scott McLuhan's draft board? What do you think we're going to do with that?
Yeah, I obviously
hope so.
They'd be dumb if they didn't. I mean, it's Scott's board. Obviously, it works. You could say last year wasn't that good. I understand. I'll agree with you.
Yeah,
but you have to understand that there was improvement.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
And I'm a huge Virginia Tech fan. My whole family is. What if Kaishan Jarrett didn't do that to him?
I know, that's so depressing, man. That's so
dude.
Sad
He
to
would
think
be
about.
a baller.
He was the end of the 2015 season, right before he got hurt. Those 2-3 games before then, when he was just balling out, he was
forcing fumbles, dude.
Yeah,
dude. I loved KJ, dude.
That's sad.
I actually saw him.
Really?
Yeah, me and my buddy, we were out. We dropped our girls off at paint night, and we're leaving, and we're walking out front, and we're about to go to a Top Golf in Ashburn. And so we're walking out, and this dude starts walking towards us. And I looked at him, and I noticed he was in a sling. And so I'm walking, and then I look, and so he like reversed into his spot, so I could see in his back seat, and it was a Redskins jersey, and it said Jarrett, 34. And I was like, and I remembered to myself, I was like, he's in a sling. I was like, is that KJ? And then he kind of stopped and looked. And then I was like, is that? And we kept walking. I was like, is that Kai-Chan? Is that Kai-Chan? And he kept stopping and looking the whole way up, all the way up.
That's not awkward at all.
Dude, not at all. So it was really weird. So then we leave, and I tell my girl that, and she says his name over the phone, and she said he looked down at her.
Really?
Yeah. So
did you go up to him and shake his dead hand?
No, I wasn't able to. I wasn't gonna worry about that.
How big is he in person? He was a smaller defensive. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Dude, I've actually met Bruce Allen at Redskins Park.
Oh God, I was spit in his face.
This was before. This was before. This was the off season before they gave Kirk the starting job.
Okay, so that was the off season before. So
Yeah.
that was 2015 going into the 2015
I was doing
season.
construction work there, and my boss told me to go outside and get some out of his truck. And I walk out front, and lo and behold, here comes Bruce Allen. Open the door for me.
Really?
Yeah.
He doesn't seem to me like the kind of guy who's holding doors for.
I was going to get the door for him.
Yeah.
He opened the door for me. He was like, "How you doing, young man?" I was like, "Mr. Bruce Allen, how you doing, man?"
But see, he's such a politician, though.
He
Of course,
is.
he's going to try to get the votes of people,
Exactly.
the votes of support. So yeah, that makes sense. Bruce Allen, you're a shady person. You're a
Dude, so
disgusting.
the most ironic thing about the whole McLuhan situation is that he said he was jealous of Scott because of how much he was getting from the fan base, how much credit he was getting.
Every offseason the past 2 years was in Scott we trust.
Exactly.
We might have gotten bounced early, but at least we have Scott McLuhan to look forward to the offseason.
Exactly.
Bruce Allen wasn't cool with that.
And it's hilarious. So Bruce Allen's like, "Oh, well, I have Trent Murphy and Morgan Moses who panned out this year. I deserve some credit."
You know
And
why
then-
Morgan Moses panned out? Because of Callahan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Trent
What
Murphy
does
just
Trent Murphy
got
do this
busted. He just got
offseason?
what's it called? He just
Tested positive for a banned substance, suspended
Yeah.
4 games.
PEDs, man.
There you go, Trent.
That's ironic right there for you, Bruce.
There you go, Bruce.
Good job, Bruce.
Great
yeah,
job.
Great draft.
High quality
Yeah,
players.
keep comparing yourself to McLuhan. That's going to really help you
That's
out.
another thing. When Bruce Allen always had these rules for picking players. I mean, I'm sorry, not Bruce Allen, Scott McLuhan. He always had these rules for picking players. He wouldn't pick anybody with any character flaws, and he wouldn't pick anybody. He liked his first round picks to generally be seniors. He liked them to fulfill their commitment. So now, though, that he's gone, that sucks, obviously, because he's great at what he does. But it's kind of interesting to see now, Redskins could take somebody maybe with Dalvin Cook, who's apparently had some off the field problems, but I mean, without Scott there calling the final shot, Scott would have taken him off this draft board.
This whole offseason with Jay getting his raise and everything, they've been saying he's been getting more respect, and now he has more on his table.
Yeah.
So I honestly believe that he has more say now in the draft.
Yeah.
Because Bruce doesn't know what the hell he's doing, right?
Oh yeah.
So the guy that I am targeting, if they are taking a running back, it's not going to be Dalvin Cook. It's going to be Christian McCaffrey.
Christian McCaffrey. You know, I am completely on board with McCaffrey after his combine. The only thing, I don't think McCaffrey's going to be there at 17 anymore.
I know.
After this,
But that's where I think
statement. I think he's going top 10 now. I think
You really do?
I think he could go
I like
number 8
that
to the
bold
Panthers.
statement.
I think he could.
they're saying Dalvin or Fournette. I think Fournette would be a perfect fit for the
He
Panthers.
would. He's not going to. A report came out today saying that the Browns are interested at number 1. They're deciding right now. Obviously, they're going to take Myles Garrett, but Leonard Fournette is such a great player that he's actually in the conversation right now at number 1. And this time of year, of course, there's smoke screens everywhere, but I think Fournette's going to end up going 4 to the Jaguars. I think Dalvin Cook's taking a little bit of a tumble down boards, but that could work out. I mean, Dalvin Cook didn't have the best combine. He really didn't. He didn't. Before he came out, before the combine, there was always all these comparisons to, he's Jamal Charles. He ran a 4.49, which is good. I mean, it's good, but you want your speed back, your lightning rod to be a little bit more faster than that.
Dalvin Cook's worst stat is his criminal record.
I would agree with that. And it's mainly, it's not even really him as much as it's the people he hangs out with. Yeah. But that's just like a red flag
Tallahassee,
right there.
Florida, dude. It's the party school, dude.
Yeah, that's
that and
true.
Arizona.
Yep. Arizona State.
Yeah, Arizona State all day. Dude.
I don't know if they party in Arizona, but I know Arizona State they do. And you know how I know that? Because I watched Tosh.0 season 2 when they went to Arizona State.
And so I wanted to get into the one person that I feel is taking the biggest getting dumped on because of this whole Scott thing is Junior Gillette.
Yeah.
That was Scott's guy, dude.
And that's so sad, too. I mean, going into the 2015 season, we gave him a chance after his incident, the domestic abuse incident, if you didn't know, when he was on the beach and allegedly hit it.
Was that
punched a
proved?
girl? It was on video.
No, it was a belt. It was a belt.
Yeah, he hit a girl with a belt. It was on video.
It was proved,
but
though?
in the video it's a little bit grainy. I don't think you can completely tell that it's him.
Okay.
So, I mean, it wasn't a Ray Rice situation or a Joe Mixon who, by the way, I do love Joe Mixon as a running back. But
he is good.
He's very good. But, yeah, Gallette's so sad, man. He ruptured his Achilles in 2015, and then he was finally getting healthy. I started following him on Instagram. He's working his butt off, getting ready. And then the offseason, he ruptures his other Achilles.
Yeah.
What a bad break.
Weird little fact here. I'm friends with Junior Glad on Snapchat.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I always Snapchat that dude all the time.
Does he ever respond?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, does he really?
Dude, I let Hizzer respond one time. It was so awkward. So I was like, yo, Hizzer. I was like, yeah, say whatever you want. Because it was in like that side chat where you could type message.
Yeah.
And he hands the phone back to me. His motherfucker sent to him, hey, Junior, it's Hizzer. Love you.
He knows who you are, Hizzer. Great job. It's me.
It's Hizzer.
It's me, Stevie Janowski. Oh, God.
Dude, but he's an awesome guy, but he just works so, like, the whole time he was working so hard to get back.
And that was so sad to see. I had such high hopes for him, because if you think about it, man, that pass rush foursome right there, that could be... I mean, we don't have a...
When we had Chris Baker.
Yeah, well, exactly.
They didn't even offer him a contract. Dude.
I know, and that's sad. And the good thing is this year in the draft is so deep with defensive linemen. This is one of the most deep defensive drafts and running back drafts in the last few years.
Well, this brings up my point: is how do you think they did in free agency this year? If you were to give them a grade,
there's two sides,
including re-sign.
Yes, there's two sides to my free agency. If you were to ask me within the first couple of days of free agency, I would say complete F. We lost to Deshaun Jackson, Pierre Garçon, Chris Baker. Like the first day, I was like, cool, thanks guys.
Yeah.
Who's going to want to sign here with this mess going on with Bruce Allen and Scott McLuhan? However, I think we kind of redeemed ourselves a little bit. The Terrell Pryor signing, we gave out a lot of one-year deals. But, I mean, Terrell Pryor...
it was a record break for the whole NFL.
Yeah, everybody in the NFL is giving out one-year deals this year. So after Pryor, who else did we sign? We got... we ended up just signing Zach Brown. We got the two defensive linemen, Stacey McGee and
Terrell
McClain. We got DJ Swearinger. I like it. You know, I really like what we did. We definitely filled some holes, and plus at the draft, I mean, this is a very deep draft.
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing is that Deshaun signed for $13 million.
Yeah.
Pierre signed for $16 million. So that's $29 million between the two of them.
Yep.
We signed Terrell Pryor for $6 million with $2 million in incentives.
Yeah.
So he gets that other $2 million
Yeah.
if he surpasses these goals.
The goals that are set. Yeah.
Exactly. So, but basically, we got Terrell Pryor for $23 million less.
Yeah.
Then we end up getting the dude from the Rams. What's his name? Brian Quick. He's also 6'3". I mean, and we got him for vet minimum.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I mean, we are saving money. I like it. I understand because Bruce was originally brought on when we had that.
He was considered a salary cap genius.
Exactly, because the whole issue with Albert Hainsworth's contract, with
all of our Adam Archulettas and
D Hall's contract too, because D Hall had a horrible contract.
Oh yeah.
But I don't care what anyone says. I like D Hall.
I love D Hall.
He took pay cuts to stay here.
Yeah. We got to give him a chance.
Dude, all the beat reporters come out and say how important D Hall is to locker room and secondary.
That's why another.
Because of just being a leader, not being like
with D'Angelo Hall being
performance.
a leader in the secondary. I mean, he was not even a leader on the whole team. But Ricky Jean Francois was somebody else who was such a big part of that locker room, and now he's gone. And he's gone because he criticized the Redskins organization.
Well, he didn't criticize.
Well, it depends on how you read it, I guess.
Yeah, so basically he was on Sean Salisbury's show, and they basically asked him, like, hey, man, what's going on down there? And Ricky basically said, I don't know.
Yeah.
They were like, so who's calling the shots, Ricky? He was like, I don't know.
But Bruce Allen with his fragile ego, that probably
exactly, and that's so bad. Nobody knew, and that's the thing is, like, as fans, we feel like the child going through a divorce.
Yeah,
we're like, you see all this friction happening, and you hear the arguments, you hear it all. But they tell you all the time, it's okay, it's going to be okay.
It's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Until the Scott McLuhan situation happened, which was like when mom spills the spaghetti at the dinner table and dad slaps her. And then it just breaks loose, and then now you have to pick a side. Now, should she not have spilled that spaghetti? Or, I mean, did she have it coming? Or
did she do it on purpose?
Did she? That's another thing. Did she do it on purpose? I don't know.
And it's just like, dude, just shed some light. Give us something. Even everything you've said to us this whole offseason, even saying that Scott was going to be back next week, has been a lie.
It has.
Everything you've said has been a lie. Just give us something to something, dude. You've kept us in the dark.
Give us any. Just be honest. Just be honest. Look at the best teams in the league right now, man. Look at the people who are consistently good. And this is a good, decent segue into the next thing I was about to say. There's franchises out there like the Steelers, like the Patriots, who are just consistently good, and they have good ownership because they stay out of the media. And what do we do? Who do we hire? We're hiring people from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers who have been a 500 and lower club since they went to the Super Bowl in the earlier 2000s. Now, I mean, they're not bad, but we took all their people away who could make them bad, and we signed them with us. Watch, our next GM is going to end up being somebody from the Buccaneers or a yes man like Doug Williams from the Redskins, who was a Buccaneer.
I like Morocco Brown.
Morocco Brown.
He used to be with the Redskins front office. But the biggest thing with the Redskins front office is they've always said you have to start hiring guys from within. And what the problem was is that Dan didn't like guys that told him no.
Yeah.
He had to have yes men.
Yep.
So if these talented evaluators in the front office personnel that were capable of taking on higher jobs, they'd be let go because they said no to Dan. And now you see the product. You see what that gets you.
I imagine Bruce Allen and Dan Snyder just sitting around in a room with like a bearskin rug, candles lit. They're sitting there. One of them's probably got their shirt off, not anything like doing anything weird, but they're sitting there, and Bruce Allen's like, Dan, you got a great body, dude. And Dan's like, thanks, man. You really like it? He's like, yeah. He's like, how about mine? He's like, yours is good too, dude. That's a very good body. Great body. They're just saying yes to each other and complimenting each other, building up their egos. And that's just how they are, dude. They're yes men.
I think it's hilarious how Larry Michael, the voice for the Redskins, comes out and says, don't listen to any of the media, but listen to the Redskins TV show that we put on from Redskins Park.
Don't listen to the media, but listen to me as a member of the media.
Listen to me, who is Dan Snyder's right-hand man.
Yeah.
Please listen to me.
I'm his best friend.
Yeah, because you've been giving us facts all off-season. We should start believing you.
He's a great guy.
Everything that the media has said so far has been correct except for you guys.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure what you're trying to get at, bud.
That's... God, the Redskins organization is such a joke.
Let's get away from them. I'm tired of them, all right? Actually, no, let's not.
All right, yeah, let's not do it. You know what, though?
All right, the 17th pick.
17th pick. I hope... we have so many needs on the defensive line. I know everybody's going to say, like, oh, you need somebody on the defensive line. The only thing is, unless somebody like Jonathan Allen from Alabama falls down, which allegedly could happen. I mean, he's got, carpal tunnel. He didn't test too well at the combine, but he's a top 5 to 3 pick. Like, I mean, he's a very solid player. He's considered one of the best players in this draft. However, if you would have told me last year that Miles Jack would have fallen all the way down to the second round, I wouldn't have believed that. So, I mean, anything's possible. But I don't think that the talent is going to be there at 17 to take a defensive lineman unless they're in love with Caleb Brantley or Malik McDowell. So I am actually now kind of hoping that we do take a running back like Dalvin Cook or Christian McCaffrey if they're available. I mean, they always say that one of the best keys to a good defense is to have a strong running game, and them and Rob Kelly.
It's true. Look at the Cowboys, dude.
Exactly. That helped their defense a lot.
You can say what you want, but back in, 2014, their defense was on the field for less minutes than any other team in the NFL.
Yeah.
So that helps. That really does help.
You choose up clock. I mean, if you have an effective running game, and I'm not taking anything away from Fat Rob. I think Fat Rob's a very good player, but I just think if you can improve a position like that can improve your whole team. Why not?
I was thinking a wild card, a complete wild card. I don't think it's going to happen. I would like it. I wouldn't love it. Would be if they drafted John Ross.
John Ross. See, I understand. I mean, I would probably like it.
That's a perfect Deshaun Jackson replacement.
Yeah. But the thing is, with the logjam at wide receiver, but then again, you have Doxson who was hurt last year.
But you have to look at Scott's philosophy.
Best player available.
Best player available. If you have a guy running a 4-3 on
4-2-2. 4-2-2. That is just
like a 4-2-2, dude. Imagine that.
And not only did he run a 4-2-2, he had an ACL injury a year or two ago, and he still ran a 4-2-2.
Yeah, ask RG3 to run a 4-2-2.
Yeah, ask RG3 to. Ask RG3 to do anything. Right now. The only thing he's going to end up doing is leaving his wife and kid.
Dude, I remember seeing this stat about RG, that RG3 got sacked more times than Kirk Cousins. Or no, Kirk Cousins got sacked like 1 or 2 more times than RG3, and RG3 played in 3 games, and Kirk played in 16.
RG3 is... I loved the idea of RG3, and after his rookie year, I was like, yes, we finally got somebody, but he's No, he's starting into a bad person.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody the other night. We were sitting around, and I was like, dude, like, you know what's crazy about RG is when he came out as a rookie, you know, I always was thinking, I was like, this is a humble kid. All of his press conferences.
I was thinking he was the
humble.
best person.
This is perfect for us. We want a humble guy to change the culture of the team. And then you start to see this personality. I remember seeing a warning sign.
Being a little abrasive at times.
I remember seeing his warning sign when he was trying to do like the hype up speech before the game to the players out in the field, and it sounded scripted. There was no passion behind it. He was like, "All right, guys, let's go. We're gonna get out there. We're gonna fight with all our heart." And like he had to get his little slogan in there.
What he meant was, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to fight with all my heart because it's me, me, me. That seems to be a common trend in the Redskins organization. Everybody's me, me, me.
Yeah, dude, I think it was Dan. I think Dan ruined him, man. He was Dan's best friend.
Yep. Dan, you couldn't... Jay Gruden apparently was huge. He gave RG3 his chance his first year. He did. And RG3 just, he didn't produce. And Jay Gruden's been was saying... Kirk Cousins had a better offseason. Kirk Cousins had a better preseason. But you can come out and say this, but in inner circles, apparently that's what was being said. But Dan wanted you to start the Ferrari.
Tell me Jay wasn't so happy. I'm sorry to say this, it's horrible. But tell me that Jay was so happy when RG3 got injured against the Jaguars.
Oh yeah. He definitely was. And, even that season, Kirk didn't look great, but he didn't look timid in the pocket. He looked like he actually knew what he was doing. As opposed to RG3. RG3 looked terrible.
Yeah.
He didn't look like an NFL
Dude, and it was amazing. I remember watching a Jaguars game, and up until that point, like 2012, we saw a lot of points, right? We saw the offense do really well just that 1 year. Then, so 2013 comes around, and so RG3's out there, and you just see, like, the offense is just stagnant, you know? It's just, you don't see, like, comparison to, like, a car.
Yeah,
you want to see a drag race. You know, you don't want to see like a grandma driving down the road. Yeah. That's what it felt like with the Redskins. And so when he goes down, Kirk comes in, and immediately we scored 28 points off bat. Yep. And I remember looking at somebody who was like, "When's the last time we scored 28 points?"
Yeah, exactly.
Like for real, like this is legit.
That was Kirk Cousins is such a. Now it's not even a question, but like looking back on it then, you wanted RG3 to succeed because of what he meant and like his potential and just the kind of quarterback that he was, and everybody thought he was such a good person. But then, Kirk's always been a pretty good guy too, and Kirk knows what he's doing. Kirk knows how to play football. I don't know.
So we just spent the first 30 minutes of our podcast talk about the Redskins.
If we
haven't even gotten to other sports yet.
I could literally talk about Scott McCloughan.
And that's not even half of the off season. All right, so let's get into let's talk some baseball, man.
Yeah, let's get into some Nationals.
Yeah, Bryce Harper just balling as usual, man.
Yeah, Daniel Murphy's balling.
Have you read anything on Trey Turner and his injury?
No, I haven't read much about it. Honestly, I probably should have a little bit more, but that's huge right there. If that's going to be if that's going to be anything that's going to haggle him for the rest of the season, that's going to be huge because that can take away his biggest asset, which is his speed. Yeah, and then that's going to be huge. So that's definitely something we got to monitor. It's also early in the season, man. I don't want him to rush back.
Adam Eaton has done well.
Yeah. And a lot of players, besides our bullpen and Guthrie.
And it's been crazy how many walks he's been getting. And we keep saying, come on, keep walking, and we'll have Bryce Harper to step up to the plate. Yeah. No worries.
Whatever you want to do. And then after Bryce, you got Daniel Murphy to face. So let's keep this going.
And I hate people who hate on Jason Worth.
So do I. I love Jason Worth. I do.
He's just a regular dude.
It's not his fault that he got such a huge contract. Come on.
He hates the media.
Oh, he does.
Oh my goodness.
I was hearing, I think it was Grant and Danny, they were talking about how Daniel Murphy is the most boring interview they've ever done because he just attributes all of his gifts to God. He's apparently...
Dude, I love Jason because, every single time you watch a Jason Worth at bat, you always know that he's taking it 3-2.
Oh, yeah.
That he's always seeing pitches, and they always tell you, look at more pitches, because as soon as you go back to that dugout, the one thing you're doing is you're telling the dudes what you saw. Yeah. You're telling them when you saw it and what you saw.
Jason Worth is huge in stature. He's a pretty tall dude. He's huge in that clubhouse. He's so big. He's been perfect in the development of Harper over the last few years. He's big, man. He's a team player, and he might not put up the homers or the batting average that he used to, but he's still a very good player.
Yeah, he's
very
definitely the
valuable.
vocal leader.
Yes, he is. That's similar to Zimmerman, man. Zimmerman's another person who he might not be putting up what he used to, and he might be a pain to watch throw the ball because he's had so many injuries and he sidearms it and lobs it.
That's a guy that you would absolutely want to be retired as a Nat. Like, you want him to play his whole career with us. You don't want to see him leave and go somewhere else.
No.
Just like Trent Williams.
Yeah,
I don't want to see Trent Williams in any other jersey.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are.
No, exactly.
I don't want to see him in any other jersey.
That's our guy, you know.
Dude, I remember watching Trent. I know. We just got out of the NFL, but I remember watching Trent.
Everything comes back to the rest.
I know, it's true.
It's fine.
I remember watching Trent his rookie year against Dallas in the opening game, and seeing him control DeMarcus Ware the entire game.
Yeah, Trent Williams is amazing. Have you heard any of those tall tales that they have about him in Oklahoma?
No.
I think it was Jim Ross was talking about it. Good old JR, the good God that killed him from WWE. He was talking about how Trent Williams is just like a myth on the Oklahoma campus. JR's a huge Oklahoma fan. Tress Way, also the Redskins punter, was talking about some of the myths. He said one of the things that everybody who goes to Oklahoma knows is that Trent Williams never lost a one-on-one in practice or in the game at Oklahoma.
You know somebody who I know for a fact did?
Yeah.
One-on-one on Trent? Junior Gillette did. I watched it. He released video of training camp before he tore his Achilles the first time, and he was getting past it.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah, I'm talking at Oklahoma.
Okay.
During Trent's years at Oklahoma. But no, Junior Gillette's a freak.
Dude, he's
Junior
amazing.
Gillette is a freak, man. I wouldn't doubt it.
He showed a still photo of him bursting off the line, and everyone else literally has got their helmet up a little bit, and Junior Gillette's shoulder pads are already past the line.
His pad level, everything. Junior Gillette, man, if he's healthy, he could be so huge for us.
That acquisition would, imagine if him and Doxson become ballers this year.
Yeah, I know.
Two people
scenario.
we haven't had.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden added to us.
Yeah, in the positions that we need to. And if you think about it, I know we're staying on Redskins, but it's okay. Just let it happen. Junior Gillette paired with Ryan Kerrigan and Preston Smith, and then once Trent Murphy stops using banned substances after the 4 games when he comes back, I mean, that's pretty good. That's 4 pass rushers. Plus, not to say they might add somebody in the draft.
That's true. They might. Well, all right, so let's get back into baseball. Let's talk about the Nats. Their closer situation. I mean, really bad, dude. Yes. I watched Scherzer. Scherzer had left the game 7-1.
Yeah.
And he left the 7th.
Yeah.
And then they come in and they end up winning 7-6.
Yeah.
Bullpen gave up 5 runs in 2 innings.
That was such a big thing all offseason too. Was who's the closer going to be? What's going to happen with the closer? And as soon as Melanson bolted at the first sign,
that was.
It's just kind of.
Why doesn't anybody want to sign?
A lot of people don't want to sign with the
It's
Nationals.
weird, right?
You would think that they're a team that they have the star that's young. You know, it's one of the best players in baseball. And Bryce Harper, they got great starting pitching. You know, they got some other huge pieces. Daniel Murphy's one of the best batters in the league. You know, I mean, you would think that somebody would want to be a part of that. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand it.
You know what's a crazy thing I heard? That somebody said that no Scott Boras client ever signs a long-term contract before they hit free agency.
Really?
And so they did that with Strasburg. And so they're saying that's a huge warning sign.
Really?
Yeah, they're saying that possibly he's not going to be lasting much longer.
Yeah.
And that's what I've heard. Like the junkies always have on this baseball guy. He can see injuries in the elbow based on still photos throughout the pitch. Yeah. And he's been saying he hasn't fixed the problem. He's going to get hurt again.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Strasburg's somebody when he's on, like we saw last year in the first half, he was so on, but then once he gets hampered a little bit and slowed down, that's definitely could be something that'll linger, and that's terrible. That's why I was all in on the Chris Sale this past offseason. I was so pumped. I didn't like giving up those prospects, but that could definitely Scherzer, Sale, Strasburg. Strasburg was healthy, but
and it sucked. It was kind of like they were trying to ease the fans, and by giving up the same amount of draft picks for Adam Eaton.
Yeah.
You remember Bryce Harper was like, "What
are we doing?"
Yeah. He was like, "What?"
Yeah. That was literally his tweet. Was what?
Yeah. And so people were like, "Oh, yeah. What's wrong, Bryce?
Yeah.
You didn't like that?" It made sense. I mean, we knew what we needed. We still don't have a closer. I mean, I believe in Blake Trinan because I believe in the theory of like being a human and overcoming adversity and stuff, and starting out bad, I can completely understand. And they pitched him for 3 straight days.
Yeah,
I mean, as a closer, you're gonna get messed up a little bit. Those guys aren't used to going that many innings back to back. They can't go that long.
Yeah.
They get tired. And I trust him? Not yet.
Yeah,
but I'm not like over on him. I don't ever want to see him.
Not yet. I mean,
I still want it to be his. But he has to obviously earn the solidified closer position still. I don't think it's still a run now.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel about it.
They proved that. They had Coda Glover closing the game the other night.
Yeah.
And they lost.
And, I mean...
They gave up a bottom of the ninth hit.
Nationals right now are 3-3, following 2 just big losses to the Phillies.
Yeah.
Saturday was unbelievable, man. Guthrie.
I know, dude. I feel so bad for that guy. He just won a World Series.
I know. He was, I'm sure he's a nice guy, but be gone.
Yeah.
Who gives up? We gave up a total of 12 runs in that first inning. He gave up 10 of them.
Yeah.
That was just...
Dude, he didn't even finish the inning.
Yeah, first inning.
You can't get 3 outs. I mean, I completely understand this is a professional sport, and these guys are good.
They're very good.
But you won a World Series. You're supposed to be good.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, plus he pitched very well.
Maybe he just had a bad day. Maybe he was hungover.
Maybe. Who knows? But I was out all that day. That was the day before my birthday. I was running around and whatnot, and I wasn't watching the game. I was getting updates on it, and I got an update saying that the Nationals were down 12-0, and I was like, oh, man, well... maybe it's the middle of the game. That sucks, but what are we going to do? And then, nope, it was the first inning. That was the end of the first. I thought it was a typo. I could not believe that, man.
I was out with Butler, and Butler, he walks up to me, and he's like, dude, it's 12-0 in the first. I was like, no way. He showed it to me, and I was like, no, that sucks so bad. 20 minutes, not 20 minutes, 15 minutes pass. I look at my phone, it says 15-1. I was like, Butler, look at that. What is happening?
Why is this happening to us?
Why?
What is going on?
Dude, I'll never
forget.
forget.
And to the Phillies, too, though.
I'll never forget, dude. Me and my buddy Freddie, we went to the Nats playoff game when they had the wild card round against St. Louis. I'll never forget it. We get there early. We buy our tickets. We paid like $40 each in their standing room, and so we get there early. And so we're standing in line. They finally let us through, and then everyone just starts running. Yeah. So we're like, oh, why are they running?
Yeah, what's going on?
I was like, okay. So I just ran with them. We followed this one dude all the way up, and it was right in front of the Red Bar. Mm-hmm. And it was that room is standing room.
Yeah.
So we had playoff tickets. We got playoff tickets right in center field, overlooking basically the field, all the way up that high, and we saw everything from behind, obviously, no homo. And then we only paid like $40.
Really?
Yeah, and I'll never forget.
Wow.
I've never heard 50,000 people so quiet.
Oh yeah,
Dude, every breath of the stadium went away every time that strike wasn't called.
That was unbelievable.
Do you know that we drafted Drew Storen 20 picks before Mike Trout was taken?
Yeah. I remember when we drafted Storen. It was the pick, not the pick, but our following pick after Strasburg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sucks, man.
Yeah. Apparently, few teams had Mike Trout very high on their draft boards. I think the Yankees came out and said that they had him, and they were going to take him. They had him as the best player in that draft, even over Strasburg. But the Angels ended up, Mike Trout, that dude is amazing.
Yeah,
Mike Trout.
And speaking of St. Louis, their Nats are about to play them this week.
Yep, yeah.
It's a big test. It's a big deal. St. Louis just is always good.
They're just one of those teams, man.
And it's not like the Yankees where they buy everybody.
Yeah.
They literally just shoot everyone out, and they're just always good.
Yeah.
Somehow, some way.
It always ends up working out for them. Everything does. And even when they get rid of players, though, like when they got rid of Pujols, I was like, why would you get rid of Albert Pujols? Like, he's one of the best players, and then he's on his way, and he's gone to the Angels, and
now he sucks.
Yeah, he was washed up. Nobody saw. I didn't see that coming. I mean, maybe some people did. I definitely didn't.
All right, dude. So let's get into these playoff teams. I know people are going to want to hear about these teams. So for the first, let's do the Wizards, man.
Let's go into the Wizards.
The first team to go to start out 2-8 and to win 48 games.
Yeah, that's incredible. And they still have a shot at 50. They still. I mean, they have
not
2
the way the
games
defense
remaining.
is playing.
No, no. And I mean, with your playoff seeding already set, right?
Not yet. It's all messed up. So they don't know. Well, I think they have the 4th seed.
Yeah, but
they don't know who they're playing.
Yeah. I mean that And that's what's getting a lot of attention right now is should the Wizards go for 50 wins or should they just rest their starters?
Because I don't want to play Cleveland. Maybe playing Cleveland the first round. When would you rather play Cleveland? In the first or the second round?
Probably the first round.
That's what I was thinking. Like, wouldn't you want to see them raw? Like, when they haven't gotten into the groove of the playoffs.
And
because you know LeBron and Kyrie are going to get the calls. They're going to get the foul calls all day. As soon as somebody touches their ass. You know.
It's the star treatment. I mean, that's going to happen. That's very true. I would much rather face the Cavaliers in the first round than I would at any other point in the playoffs. I mean, the Cavaliers it's LeBron James.
Yeah,
I mean,
and obviously he's the NBA's baby. Like LeBron makes the NBA so much money.
He's been so good for the NBA,
and we obviously know that the NBA obviously influences the refs.
Yeah,
that's been well documented. It's no secret. We all know that.
Yeah,
and so he always gets the calls in the playoffs. They know the NBA makes more money when LeBron's in the championship.
Yeah.
And they want to see a Cavaliers Spurs championship or a Cavaliers Warriors championship.
Cavs Warriors.
I'd love to see KD get a ship, but I honestly in the Eastern Conference I might be stupid to say, but I'm only scared of the Cavaliers.
Yeah,
I still think we can beat them.
Yeah,
but I mean
that's the only team that really actually you don't want to see. Like that's like the one team. Yeah. I mean the Celtics, the Celtics are good, but you see this type of stuff every year where one team does really good throughout the regular season. Like the Hawks a year or two ago. The Hawks were very good in the regular season. They got to the playoffs, and what did they do? I mean, they didn't do too much. Anything. So, I mean, that type of stuff always happens, but the Cavaliers are consistently good. The Cavaliers, I mean, they have the best player in the world in LeBron James, and I mean, and not only that, but they got some good pieces. I mean, LeBron James basically pled for that team. Yeah. I mean, they bought that team. So,
I mean, right now, the Wizards are averaging 109 points a game.
Yeah.
You think to yourself, that is great. That's a great stat. Yeah, it's fifth in the NBA. That is a great stat. But then you look at the opposing points against them, and it's 107.4. So it's literally 2 points off, and that's 21st in the NBA.
You like to see that 109. Definitely like to see that. However, when you see that 107 that they're allowing, you're
like, oh my god, that's not good. And they can't stop anybody.
No,
I don't understand. Yeah. And they always say defense is all about hustle.
Yeah,
and it's such a bad thing to hear when you have a poorly defensive team.
Yeah, because and it's not like John Wall's not hustling. John Wall's out there, he's hustling. I think Marcin Gortat. I think he's hustling. I just don't think that he's that good of a defender. He just isn't. That's just
he's a good rebounder. He scores your points. He can do the jump shooter. He can just do the just the layup. Just no problem.
And he is a hustle player. He is, but he's not a shot blocker. He's not going to intimidate you. He's not he's not a Hassan Whiteside.
And I love the signing of Bogdanovic. That was awesome.
When that happened, I remember being a little bit upset. But
the guy is buckets, dude.
Yeah,
Bobo Drano.
He has came out on fire with the Wizards.
I love saying that every time he makes a three. Bobo Drano.
Bobo Drano. I've never heard that. Man. I'm into it though. I'm definitely into it. Probably because I like the taste of Drano. I'm a sad human being.
But when you look at the Wiz, if you were a betting man and you were to put $100, but you're serious about it. How far do you see them going? And who do they lose to?
Well, right now they're fourth. Let's see. So are we just going to say that the standings right now remain how they are?
Yeah.
We would face the Hawks round one.
Yeah.
I think we'd get past round one. We'd beat the Hawks. I got to take a look at who exactly is what the standings are right now. I think
Celtics, Hawks,
Celtics are one.
Cavaliers.
Right. Let's take a look at these Eastern Conference standings.
I think that was it. I'm not sure, but I see them going far. I mean, it depends on when they play the Cavs, obviously, and if they can beat the Cavs, obviously, I see them in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, if they beat the Cavs, I think that they're the favorite from the East.
I would love to see them in the Eastern Conference Finals with the Cavs.
So right now, the Eastern Conference standings, they have the Cavs at 1. Yeah, 51-29. The Celtics are also 51-29, but they're in second. So the first round matchup, you would have the Cavs versus the Bulls. You're going to take the Cavs. You'd have the Celtics versus the Pacers. You want to take the Celtics. The Raptors and Bucks. That's you want to take the Raptors, but then again, the Bucks, they're not too bad. I mean,
the Bucks are a good team.
They got, I mean, the Greek freak, man. That dude can ball out, and then you'd have the Wizards versus the Hawks. I think you would take the Wizards in that. So that's man, yeah, you don't want to play the Cavs.
You got to play them regardless. So
Yeah.
where do you think they fall?
I think that we can make it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
You really think so?
I think so.
You bet $100 that they made the Eastern Conference Finals.
See, I'm so paranoid when it comes to betting. I'm so like, I don't want to say I'm stingy with money, but like I also am. So, like I don't know. I would. You know what? Let's go for it. I'm going all in on the Wizards. I think that the Wizards have such, from top to bottom, the Wizards are one of the most complete rosters in the league. I mean, they've got some good players. All it's going to take is for John Wall and Bradley Beal to get hot. But this is also where the minutes comes in.
Yeah.
The minutes. I mean, John Wall's playing. He's averaged more minutes before. He's averaged at 36.4 minutes per game right now.
Man, he's got nothing.
And that's especially somebody with who's had some knee injuries in the past.
Especially Bradley with his minutes limit.
Yeah,
he's playing a bunch of minutes.
Yeah,
too.
And Beal. Thank God Beal's been healthy this year.
I like Kelly Oubre. Kelly Oubre's been
Kelly Oubre has replaced Trevor Ariza for us. That was a big.
I thought that was the worst move by this franchise, was not re-signing Ariza.
Yeah, Ariza
after the playoff run. I thought that was horrible. I loved Ariza.
So did I.
He was a good
Ariza guy.
He always went on the best guy on the other team.
Yeah,
He was a great defender.
He's borderline lockdown defender. He's one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA.
Yeah.
Trevor Ariza could ball out, man. And on top of that, he could give you some three-pointers.
Exactly.
He's athletic.
He was just a great player. I really didn't like it, and they tried to patch it up with Paul Pierce, which backfired because he didn't want to come back.
It backfired, yes, because of that.
That year was awesome because he took him to the playoffs.
And he made that game winner.
Exactly. He was great because John broke his hand.
Yeah.
They were really leaning on Paul, and Paul hit the game winner, but it was a millisecond too late.
Yep. It was.
I was there for that game.
Were you? Were you in there? I remember seeing Paul Pierce had a couple of game winners that year.
Yeah.
One of them, I think it was the one in the playoffs.
Did you call game?
Yeah.
I called bank.
I called bank. There you go. Yeah.
Oh, no. It was flipped. He said, "You called bank." He said, "No, I called game."
That is such a gangster thing to say. What a cool
Have you
thing
seen
to
the
say
memes
by
where
Paul
Drake
Pierce.
is trying to talk to Paul Pierce?
Yeah.
And Paul Pierce like shoves him away. He's like, "Dude, get away from me."
Come on, man. That was I loved seeing all those memes when we were facing the Raptors in the playoffs and Drake dropped views from the 6, and it was like everybody would do the memes with the writing of the album cover, and it was like the Wizards are up 2-0, and like the Wizards are up, and I always thought that was funny because
and there was huge beef. Like even the mayor was like coming out talking crap.
Yeah,
and was we don't like these guys.
That's what the playoffs should be, man. Playoffs,
exactly. And then we swept them.
Yeah,
who would have thought the Wizards were going to sweep them?
That was so funny. Speaking of great playoff atmosphere, let's get into the Capitals right now, man. The Caps are rolling. What is it? The Capitals right now? Capitals have 263 goals.
That's amazing.
Goals for and against 182 plus 81.
An 81 goal differential.
Wow.
That is amazing.
That is.
I mean that shows good defense. I mean, compared to the Leafs, who have 251 goals scored, and against them they have 242 with only a number of +9. So 81-9. So what does that tell you? The Caps are going to be able to shoot the puck on net.
Yes,
they're going to be able to. They're going to have it. They're not even. They make like power play is so important in hockey, but they might not even need it. Yeah. But playoffs are completely different. I understand they might have the hottest goalie in the NHL. Well, I get it.
Yeah, I mean I think this year this is a make or break year for the Capitals.
It just feels different, doesn't it?
It does.
It feels different.
Last year, you kind of got the sense, especially when you found out that there was a possibility of playing Pittsburgh.
Well, even when, I hate to bring it back to NBA, but when LeBron met up with Chris Bosh and D Wade in Miami, they lost the finals that first year. Yeah. Even though they were the powerhouse and the best, they still took a year to get together.
Yeah.
When you bring in a guy like TJ Oshie, who was literally probably, I would say, just one step. Even half a step down from Ovi. Yeah. Because TJ is a superstar.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, them and Backstrom, Backstrom's assists this year are out of this world.
Yeah.
They're just such a formidable group. And I just see them, it just feels different. And they just feel clicking. That there is no drop-off, right? Even though they've been losing some of these games, it's not like they're just easily getting beaten and they're laying down. It's freak things are happening.
Yeah, exactly. That's a big part of it, man. The Capitals, they're a team that is hot right now, and they're rolling. And you're right. When they are losing games, when they have lost games, it hasn't been because they haven't been playing well.
Yeah,
it's been a lot of times it's been freak plays or something.
And the crazy thing is that that gives you that bad feeling
that anything can happen.
That
especially in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Exactly. Like imagine those like I remember seeing last playoffs. Like you just see like the weird bounce just come off Holtby's shoulder into the goal, and you're just like, what? It's like come on. But that's hockey, and that's playoff hockey, and they say that always counts.
That's DC sports.
Yeah,
just our luck.
I mean, I've been there. Dude, I was there for the Monday Night Massacre. I was there with my little brother against the Eagles.
Yeah.
And we're huge Virginia Tech fans. And so we were like, oh, Mike Vick, that's cool, that's cool.
Yeah.
It was right on our end zone where we were.
Mike Vick demolished us
and
that
you just see
game.
Vick go for the play action
Deshaun.
and then put it behind his ass, and he just holds it there, and then you're just like, oh, there's Deshaun.
Yeah.
And Landry's covering him.
That's
and
great.
The ball's in the air.
Ron Landry. That was, man, that's...
Talk about roids.
Yeah.
It's like, no, he doesn't need roids.
No,
he's just naturally jacked.
I hated Deshaun Jackson when he was with the Eagles. I mean, I respected him as a
player.
player.
Oh, absolutely.
But I hated him. He would destroy us. But I loved it once Deshaun came here, how hard he would go against the Eagles.
Yeah,
I loved against the Eagles.
We needed it. We needed it. We definitely needed it.
You knew he was good for over 90 yards and a touchdown. And it would always be a long touchdown. And you would showboat at the end of his touchdown.
So you could say the Redskins have gotten really lucky the past couple seasons with these guys that teams let go, and we pick them up right away, like D. Jackson Norman.
Yeah, I mean Norman, that whole thing was a debacle. Norman, but the Panthers letting him go.
Yeah, that was a whole total fiasco. He obviously had beef with them.
Yeah, well they were hard set on building the defense around Luke Kuechly. And I don't think Josh Norman liked that too much, and I think he wanted a little bit more respect.
Yeah. Luke is the best of the best.
Luke is the best of the best. You can't
He's
even
the new age Brian Urlacher.
Luke Kuechly's amazing.
He is.
He's a player
smart
that's
as heck too, man.
I heard a comparison actually on the way up here. I forget who it was. Who was it? They were saying that Reuben Foster was compared to Luke Kuechly. That's what he would compare him. I think it might have been. I think that's a little much.
That's
way too much. I mean, Luke Kuechly, Reuben Foster, he's a good player. He's a fiery leader. But Luke Kuechly's the best of the best.
I mean, when you think of Reuben Foster, I mean, you immediately think of these guys like Darrell Washington and stuff like guys like that. They're these big, bulky guys that are great run defenders, but you know that you're going to be able to hit them over the top.
Yeah.
You know it's going to happen. But we got away from the Caps. I'm sorry, guys. We got away from the Caps.
That's what happens with the Redskins, man.
So, with the Caps, just like the Wizards, if you were a bet man, you had $100.
I'm betting that the Wizards are going to win the Stanley Cup.
The Wizards?
The Capitals. You know what happens when it's checking your phone. I am betting that the Washington Capitals will win the Stanley Cup. The Wizards can't win the Stanley Cup, even if they wanted to. The Wizards
they probably wouldn't.
It's
either.
a different sport.
Yeah, I don't think the sneakers will give them that much traction.
Although, that and the whole hockey being,
You think it's Stanley Cup time?
I think this is Stanley Cup or bust for the.
Do you know how crazy this whole area would be?
Do you know how amazing that? Yeah.
Even the Eastern Conference Finals, everyone would be out watching, and it'd be a great time. Even if they make the Stanley Cups, and let's say we don't want to talk about it, but let's just say it would happen.
Yeah.
Even if that it would just be a celebration.
It would, and we have had so much heartbreak in DC.
Yeah.
Just not only lately, but forever. Do you know how awesome that would be to finally be the best of the best? And I don't even want to say that. I don't want to put bad juju out in the air. I don't want to curse this team. But then again, the 4 people that are listening to this probably won't like. But that would just be amazing, man. And I think if anybody can do it right now, it is the Capitals. The Capitals are. I think that they're the best team in hockey.
They are absolutely the closest team in DC to winning the Stanley Cup.
Yes, I would say. How would you rank those? I would say the Capitals are number 1, probably. Even though the way that they've been playing, the way that the Nationals are set up, I'd probably say they're 2.
Nats are definitely
Redskins
2.
4.
Yeah, Redskins have to be 4. They don't have the pieces in place. You see the difference. I compare the Caps, I compare them to saying that they are the Cavaliers of the NHL.
Okay.
They are the powerhouse.
Yeah.
They are the team that going against. They are the best of the NHL.
Yeah.
And when you look at the Redskins, it's nowhere near that.
Yeah.
The Nats, it's not exactly like that. The Nats have always been kind of they had the aspirations of one year and they plummeted. They've horrible.
They've been good and they have some good players, but they have never.
You still have teams like Chicago.
They've never been the Golden State Warriors.
Exactly. You still have Chicago laying around, so no one's going to think that you're actually going to go. I mean, I saw this whole this whole scale basically saying who picked out of each conference who would win the Stanley Cup and who would win each conference.
Yeah.
I mean, a couple guys gave the Nats the conference.
Really? Yeah.
And
I mean, they as much as people want to hate on teams like the Phillies and the Braves, I mean, obviously we have those, but the Mets are a dangerous team, man.
I don't think
they're
so.
Healthy.
I think they're overhyped.
I do as well, but if they can play like they did 2 years ago.
But what is it? If RG3 could start playing like he did 3 years ago.
If he could, but I mean, you saw this happen with the Nationals 2 years ago
true.
as well when we missed the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, the season before we were great. I mean, it happens a lot, and especially if the Mets can end up bringing up my boy Tim Tebow.
Tim, you know he's playing.
He's
Matt wants to go see him in Hagerstown.
Really? Imagine that. I would take him to a Bible study afterwards and go hang out with him.
Right. But yeah, dude, so I would have the Cavs being number 1.
Yeah.
I would have the Nationals number 2.
Okay.
I'd have the Wiz number 3.
Yeah.
And I don't see the Wiz and Nats far apart. I know that's crazy to think.
That was a stroke. They were.
But just because the playoffs are coming up now, and just because the way they're built, and they've already gave these guys contracts, and Otto Porter's the next coming up to get a contract, which is needed.
Which he needed, yeah.
I would say that they would be 3rd, and it sucks with the Redskins because that is my number 1 favorite team.
That's, as you can tell when we're talking about this, just going back to the Redskins so much, how much time we spent on it. That is both of our number 1 teams in anything. For me, at least. I mean, I know you're a big Virginia Tech guy. For me, nothing else comes close to the Redskins.
The Wizards are number 2 on my list. Like me and my boy, we watched every single game. I mean, back when John, it was just John. Those games, it was bad.
I do want to give a quick shout out. Adam Hill did actually give us a good question. He said, "Who do you think was more exciting to watch?" And at first, I know what you're going to want to say: John Wall or Gilbert Arenas.
John Wall, absolutely.
You think so?
Absolutely.
Keep in mind though about all Gilbert's game winners. When Gilbert was on, Gilbert was on.
I know.
But I know what you. Defensive intensity,
exactly.
Big plays.
He might be the best point guard to do the SWAT.
Yeah,
come from behind SWAT, something that only LeBron.
SWAT.
Exactly. And then his uncanny, the way he passes the ball and controls the game, is something completely different. And you can't really say. I love to say, people were getting on me. I said when in Steph Curry's MVP season, I said I think that John Wall is a better point guard, overall point guard than Steph Curry. Yeah. And people were making fun, like, "Oh, you're an idiot! You're an idiot! How can you say that? He's about to be
as
MVP."
A pure point guard,
as a pure point guard, he dish the ball, give assists. I understand Steph is making 40 points a game or whatnot, making these crazy threes. But I would say that Steph is a better shooting guard than he is a point guard.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the same with Gilbert Arenas. I think Gilbert Arenas is technically a better shooting guard than he was a point guard. I mean, there's a lot of guys in the league like that.
But I'm obviously biased because I watched John since he was a rookie.
Yeah.
So I've seen the whole maturation process and seen him just have this team come from literally the embarrassing team in the league to being actual contenders and talked about
and being
in the
on
playoffs.
national TV and being a team that they're having articles
even though we don't like him, Ernie Grunfeld, he got one season out of it.
So far, that's all that I asked for, man.
Yeah, Jan Vesely.
What a joke he was.
Oh my goodness, how can you even do that?
You
know how many players? I think Klay Thompson was available.
Yeah, he was.
Took Jan Vesely.
Klay Thompson was.
I think Steph Curry was available. Was that draft?
I don't know if I think that might have been because that was the Thompson draft, the Klay Thompson draft, I believe.
They weren't the same year?
But no. Let me see. No, Klay Thompson and Steph Curry weren't the same year. Let's pull this up real quick.
I want to see that. I want to see that number.
Let's pull up this number.
Yeah, I can't wait for the draft. I want to say thank you to everyone for tuning in. Thank you for listening. If you made it this far, you're a trooper, and we really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll hopefully be able to get some phone calls in. That way people can call in and ask questions instead of having to message us or anything like that. We'll be doing this once a week. I'm not sure how long it's going to take for our podcast to come up, so we're recording on Monday. Whatever happens between now and when we upload it, I'm sorry if we didn't get into it if you wanted to hear about it. But make sure that thank you for tuning in. Make sure you give us your feedback, comment, let us know how we did, what you'd like to see more, if we're too loud, if we talk too soft. Just let us know.
And real quick, before we take off, we pulled it up. Steph Curry was drafted in 2009. Klay Thompson was drafted in 2011. Draymond Green was drafted in 2012. They've had some good draft classes out there in Golden State.
So it was 2 years off. I'm way off on that.
It's okay.
All right, real quick before we go off. Do you think Kirk Cousins signs a long contract?
No. I want him to. I want him to more than anything.
Yeah.
I just don't see it happening. I think that he is going to probably end up, a lot can happen with the draft. The 49ers could take somebody, but I do think that he does end up going to play in San Francisco after this season.
I think so, too. I think they screwed the
Sad
pooch.
as that is. No, we did it, and you can't even blame Kirk. I wouldn't want to.
Do you remember the reports coming out when New England, when they had training camp with New England, joint training camp, and that there was rumors that the Patriots thought that Kirk Cousins was a better quarterback than RG at the time?
And that's the Patriots, man. That's why they're always
see talent
5 steps ahead of everybody else.
Exactly. Well, thank you, everybody. We appreciate it. Happy birthday, Mike.
Hey, thank you.
This is our first show. We're wrapping it up. Thank you for everyone tuning in. We appreciate it. We'll be on once a week. Hopefully you tune in next week. Message us. Let us know how we did. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
I love you. Hail to the Redskins. Woo!